Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, I'm not here to give you what you want, and at the end of this video, I will finish that sentence. And it's based on a question somebody asked me, and the question is, good morning, Nick. I wanted to ask you about recurring patterns in life. We all see how certain situations repeat themselves. Some say it's to heal something, others say that you attract it, and still others that you projected from your mind and ignorance. The thing is, when these situations repeat themselves, what causes the most pain is not having control. And without control, one inevitably asks, what have I done wrong? Why is this happening to me? And the truth is, there's no single answer, only theories. So my question is, do these repetitive patterns ever stop? Do they depend on me? Thanks, Nick. Okay, here's the answer I offer in writing, and then we'll elaborate a bit. I said, to whom do these patterns happen? That's the question that should be asked. Otherwise, you'll just keep running around in circles with theories. If there's no I, then instead of calling them patterns, they're just movements that appear to be taking place but mean absolutely nothing. But if you believe you are that separate self, you will spend your time trying to fix patterns to correct them, but they arise on their own. You also say, the thing is, when these situations repeat themselves, what causes the most pain is not having control. No, what causes pain is not having control, it is judging those experiences or patterns or whatever you want to call them. If there's no judgment, what there is experience. And like everything else, it arises and disintegrates into nothingness. But again, the question is, to whom do these patterns arise? If that hasn't been seen or questioned, obviously new questions will always arise, which, like all questions, are impossible to answer. That reminds me the following excerpt from A Course in Miracles, where it says, the answer the world offers only raise another questions, leaving the first one unanswered. And then the person replied with, so the self that I believe myself to be depends on what I believe? It's a vicious cycle and there's nothing I can do? And I replied, the problem is not that you cannot do anything. It is that as long as you continue to believe in that you will continue to suffer. But if you can see through the veil of that you, the suffering immediately ceases. When you're sleeping and dreaming, as long as you believe that you are the one in the dream, that one in the dream doesn't have free will to make choices, because all the choices are made by the mind that dreams that apparent self in the dream. However, if you remember that you are the mind that dreams the dream, then neither the individual in the dream nor the dream itself is a distraction. So, the issue here is not whether there's repetitive patterns or what should I do or whatever. It's who I am or who am I. Because as long as I believe that I'm this separate entity, of course there's going to be all sorts of patterns that seems to be coming up. Some seems to be repetitive, some seems to be not, but it's irrelevant. As long as I believe that I'm this separate entity, I'm just going to try to spend my whole life trying to fix this entity, not realizing that these patterns or conditioning or whatever, they just simply arise, just like thoughts. Do you think you can control your thoughts? Go, try to control them. And you see that you cannot, because they appear. The issue is not trying to make sure they don't appear anymore. The thing is being able to see through them, to see them as just that, so they can appear and they can disappear, but I remain as I am. You see? The sky is not complaining when clouds appear. They just appear and they disappear, but the sky remains, you see? And this is what we're all pointing to the fact that you are, that I am. So these videos are not about fixing anything. This video is about reminding you the fact that you are. Now, let me add something to this particular question because I want to make something clear here. These videos point to the fact that I am, to the nature of our being, which have nothing to do with the seeming individual. However, if you find yourself dealing with repetitive patterns and you feel that you want to go to a therapist to help you deal with that, by all means, feel free to do so, even though you're not the one making that choice, because otherwise there will be not congruency with the message here. But if in your script, in your play, it seems as though you can make that choice, that's fine too. I'm not here discrediting nor suggesting that if you have a repetitive patterns that you should not seek help or anything like that. I would never ever do that. You have to live the life that you're meant to live anyway. But it so happens that if for some reason, after you're trying to control the universe and finding out that you cannot control it, but again, maybe in your play it seems as though you can control things, I don't know. But again, if for some reason you find that you've tried everything and nothing seems to work, because in the end it's all designed not to work, because otherwise what would be your motivation in order for you to begin to know who you are? But for those who somehow they try and life doesn't work, well, these videos are pointing to the fact that you are, and that's why I say I'm not here to give you what you want. I'm here to remind you of who you are. And this is the inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can become evident.